Hare Krishna. Should I stay here or you want me to move?
No, Maharaj, you stay there.
Because not everybody's in a comfortable position.
Yes, I'll take that.
You sure it's okay if I sit here like this? Are you okay like that? Not too much, looking, bending your neck left and right.
Yeah, you said. I'll take that.
It's a long, thin room, sort of. Not very long, but a thin room.
26 second every day.
We apologize for any inconveniences if there are any. What to do? The material world. The material world, in a sense, is inconvenient to begin with, because we're all eternal, we're all spiritual beings, and to be in this circumstance is very awkward. Having to face the various challenges of life, which are unnatural, unconstitutional for the soul. So a little inconvenience in the service. You're going to suffer inconveniences of various kinds, everyone does. But so we try to do it, not that we try for inconveniences, but they're going to come. So a little inconvenience in the service of Krishna is not bad. Better than the service of Maya. Oh, suddenly my voice has changed. What happened? Oh, you have a... Hare Krishna. No echo, please. It's too high-pitched. Don't like that echo. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. I didn't bring my computer, did I? Did I? I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like it. I wanted to read something from my computer. Never mind. Hare Krishna. You can squeeze in. Hare Bol. Anyone need a... Oh, that's too high-pitched. That's far too high. Anybody need a chair? It's still echoing like anything. Anybody need a chair? Better.
Face the speaker that way. Face it that way.
What, towards Lord Jagannath?
Huh?
Towards Lord Jagannath.
Well,
Or else we can leave it over there, keep it over
people
there.
close to you can hear your voice.
Should I put it? Yeah.
Or put it in the back, yeah.
Yeah, in the back, so they can hear.
Anybody else need a chair? Cup of water? A mattress? Pillow? Today is a really wonderful day. One reason we're here in front of Lord Jagannath, look at these deities. You can't see them at the back, but you may have seen them when you came in. Aren't they amazing? There's two sets of Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra here. The big one, the big set, they're absolutely beautiful. Incredible. I just wish they were going annually on a grand Rath Yatra here in Christchurch. That'd be a great project for somebody to try to see if that's possible. In the city, if possible, of course. But they just so much want to give their mercy to everyone. We can say what we like, but unless Krishna's pleased, it's just entertainment. It's not anything lasting. But their smile when they go on the Sankirtan, when they go on the Rath Yatra, everyone who sees them on Rath Yatra is eternally benefited. Our spiritual master said that anyone who sees Lord Jagannath on the Rath Yatra festival, he said this in San Francisco, maybe not everywhere, but he said, every one of you today who are here, who've seen Lord Jagannath on this Rath Yatra festival, are going back to Godhead in your next lifetime. Haribol. He said in Bombay, anyone who's seen Lord Jagannath on Rath Yatra, when the time of death comes, that picture, along with all the other pictures, will come up, and all the other pictures will be blanked out. This Rath Yatra festival is the most important festival in the universe. It's so important and so wonderful. Prabhupada said, by the introduction of Rath Yatra festival and mass book distribution, we will conquer the world with Krishna consciousness. Such an important festival. So, and they're here. They're some of the most beautiful Jagannaths I've ever seen. I think Yasoda, you had something to do with these deities. Am I correct? They engaged you, is that right?
Mr. Puppet, obviously.
Yeah, they engaged you as their puppet. Yasoda Dulal Prabhu himself carved these deities. Devotee, if you don't know Yasoda, he's in the corner here. And it was his good fortune he was able to render this service. Devotional service is the greatest good fortune. It is not a burden. When somebody encourages or asks us to do devotional service, that means we're getting the most fortunate offer that exists. If someone comes up and gives you an offer, I'll give you, if you give me a cup of water, I'll give you $1 billion. Would you bring me a cup of water? He would do it today. He'd do it every day. He'd do it every day for 2 weeks at least. He'd even come to Australia if necessary to do it. But someone asks us to do daily worship. I'm too busy. Do it yourself. I don't like doing that. Why do you keep asking me? What's the use of that? The devotional service is our eternal nature. Is the only real thing that this soul exists for. All this stuff we do in the material world is just a passing phase. It's just something temporary thing which we have to engage in, I suppose, until we realize our constitution. Everyone has to do something. Everyone has to work in some way or another. But our real business, the eternal nature of the soul, is to be a servant of a servant of a servant of Krishna. That's our real business. Ma! Hey, Haribo! Hey! Is that Nitai? Nitai! Nitai! Where are you? You are looking very smart tonight, I must say. My goodness, do you look smart. I haven't seen you look this smart before. Oh, he's embarrassed now. But he's happily embarrassed. Hare Krishna. Jai Nivai, Jai Nitai. Haribo! He's going to become a great servant, I hope. The greatest service we can do is to help others to connect with Krishna. We can talk so many things, and it's nice, but the main thing is to engage in service. Different types of service. Let's listen tonight. Today is, as I mentioned just now, is a great day. You're here, we're here, somewhere or another. Lord Jagannath. Look at their colours. They're all dressed in yellow. Some of you are in yellow. Ami Atma's in yellow. Mata is also in yellow today. Yeah, and Yasoda's in yellow. Mata is in yellow. Some of you are in yellow. Somebody, who's that? Oh, that's Lou is in yellowish. Yeah, I said Yasoda in the corner, the one in the corner.
Rupali's in yellow.
Ah, there we go. Haribo, also yellow. Jai Sri Radhe. Jai Radhe. And Radhe may also be in yellow today. Yes, she is. She's in yellow also. So is Lord Chaitanya. So even Lord Nityananda's in yellow today. He doesn't usually wear yellow. Krishna also usually wears he likes. Krishna wears yellow. Radharani likes blue. Why does Radharani wear blue? Not today. She's in yellow, but she likes blue, doesn't she? She likes to dress in blue. She likes yellow too, but she likes to dress in blue. Why? Because Krishna's blue. Good answer. Well done. And Krishna is yellow because Radharani is a golden colour, so he wears golden dress. So it's a reflection of their beloved, their hearts manifesting in a colourful form. So today they're in yellow. Why are they in yellow today? Some of you know, I'm sure.
Vasant Panchami.
Vasant Panchami. If you ever go to Vrindavan on this day, first day of spring, everything's yellow. The days are all dressed in yellow. There's oftentimes, what is it, that plant that comes out at this time of the year, the yellow plant, mustard, comes out often at this time anyway, may not just today, but the fields are all yellow, and yellow and green. They also green is there too. So yellow and green. And it's a great festival to start things. Great festival for starting learning. It's also Saraswati Puja, as we mentioned this morning. And it's also the appearance day of many of these eternal associates of the Lord. Many persons in this world may be learned, they may be potent in some ways, but we don't very often meet someone who's an eternal associate of the Lord. That is most rare. We may be entertained by someone who has a lot of knowledge or some Shakti of some kind, but an eternal associate who's a living example of perfection, called Prayojana, who's achieved the goal of existence, or not necessarily achieved it, they've never been anything other than that. They come to show what that is, rather than, show practice towards it. They actually are eternally situated in the highest form of love of Godhead. So today, we've already discussed this morning three or four of those personalities whose appearance day is anniversary today. And the one we didn't discuss this morning was Raghunath Das Goswami. Perhaps some of you have heard of him. Those who are regulars have. Some of you have not. Those who are not so familiar may have never heard of him. I don't know if anyone here has never heard. Is anyone here completely unfamiliar with Raghunath Das Goswami? Don't be shy. You've never heard his name before. One or two. Well, you've heard the names of many saints in the course of history, especially in India. There are innumerable saints who have appeared in the course of history in all branches of knowledge, of different forms of yoga and so on. So many saints have appeared for various reasons in this world, and they will continue to appear. Forevermore this is going on. In other walks, other parts of the world, they've also had their saints. There have been many saints appeared in the Christian tradition. In Islam also, many saintly persons have appeared. Maybe they've been misunderstood or misrepresented, but that doesn't diminish their saintlyhood. Prabhupada, our spiritual master, recognized saints in the Christian church over the history. Maybe not today, we don't see much, maybe. In the past, there's been many. So Raghunath Das Goswami, as we heard the other night, the meaning of Goswami is one who's a master of the senses. But these type of devotees, they're called Goswami, but they're not exactly mastering their senses. Their senses or their consciousness, everything about them has never been anything but existing for the pleasure of Krishna. So automatically their senses have nothing to do with the material world. So they appear in this world sometimes, so he's one of those. And they're called the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghushago Shri Jiva Gopalako. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatan Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. These are their 6 names. They, on the request of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they, to fulfill his mission, they resided in Vrindavan. They established pure deity worship. Many temples were established. They uncovered or revealed many, many places. We take it for granted. But many of the places, if you ever go to Vrindavan, we go to Vindakund, Radhakund, Shamakund, Vamsivat, and so many places around Vrindavan, Prem Sarovara, and so many wonderful places. And many of these holy places were unknown as to their whereabouts. And the Goswamis, and with others too, They uncovered the whereabouts of many of these eternal places of the Lord's pastimes, which were unmanifested at that time, which we now are able to visit in Vrindavan. Especially Radha Kund is famous, and Raghunath Das was the primary servant of Radha Kund. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Anvitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyebhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Yes, when the Lord appears in this world, we understand that he doesn't come alone. When an important person appears in, say for instance, the Prime Minister of England or the President of America were to visit New Zealand, which I guess they do from time to time, or the King of England, they don't generally come alone, do they? They come on, Jetstar, Hey, Harry Ball, I don't know the name of the Prime Minister of New Zealand, whoever they are.
Christopher
Laxon?
Luxon.
Okay, Christopher. Hey, Chris. This is, I don't know, what's his name? American president, what's his name?
Trump.
Donald, is it? Don?
Donald.
This is Don here. I just flew in from the States, Are you free? Can I come over and see you? Maybe, what should I do? Get an Uber or what? Don, I thought you, Donald Trump. No, yeah, this is me. Oh, good. Glad you're here. Yeah, take an Uber. You got enough money? Yeah, only cost you about $20, Come over, the whole country will be like, isn't it geared up for his coming? He was in Paris just recently for the opening of the, Notre Dame. Yeah, last December. For 1 mile around, no one could enter. There were thousands of security guards everywhere, and dignitaries all over the place. No one could go near the Notre Dame, other than him and his entourage. It's a big thing. It's a really big thing, isn't it? He doesn't come alone. He has his own private jet, probably, with dozens of bodyguards and all kinds of things, isn't it? Secretaries and statesmen, so many things. He doesn't come alone. Ordinary person in one sense, just some or other, whatever reason, he's in a big position, some karmic reason. So what to speak when God comes himself? Of course, he's here right now. When he comes in a manifest form, he certainly doesn't come alone. All of his He doesn't come to this world to check it out. He comes for a real purpose. And one of those purposes we heard perhaps 2 nights ago, I don't know, a few nights ago I think it was, or maybe it was in the morning actually. But was he comes, Paritanaya Sadhana, he comes to relish pastimes with his devotees. Now what does he doesn't need to manifest himself in this world, but he does. And what does he do? He manifests those eternal sweet pastimes with his devotees, his eternal associates like Mother Yasoda, Radharani, the cowherd boys, and all the other associates, his parents, Nanda Maharaj, and so many others. They come along too, so that we have this amazing opportunity to hear about this. Have we got the Krishna book here, for instance, right? Everyone got the Krishna book? Oh, some are nodding, some are not nodding. But maybe we have Krishna book available. One of the first books we ever had to distribute. Now, the first book I ever got was the Krishna book. Yeah, it's something besides this, but hardbound and bigger writing and anyway, whatever. Two big books, Krishna book, hardbound, 1970 edition. And they're not available now. They reprinted something like it, and it's amazing. It's just all about Krishna's pastimes with his eternal associates. And when you read about that, it has incredible effect. Looks like someone's really been getting into it. Someone's so eager there, just trying to eat it or something. Anyway, hopefully that's definitely. But it's incredible. The killing of Kamsa. Oh, so many pastimes are there. This is how we change our hearts, by associating. Krishna comes to give his association, as do his devotees, and he brings his devotees with him. So they perform these wonderful, attractive pastimes, which are just so attractive. We love to hear pastimes of others. We love to hear stories. We love to hear some espionage, something exciting, some loving affairs. We love all these things. We love to hear about wars. We love to hear about, fear, scary things. All these different things. Everything's there in this Krishna, in his Leelas. Everything's there. Whatever you find in this world, everything's. Just look at that. That's some monster called Putana. It's not very clear, is it? Black and white. Monstrous. All the different many of the things that they depict now have their origins in Ramayana and in Krishna and so on. Somebody's been very on the warpath here. Krishna book. If you haven't got it, get it. This is what hearing this changes our lives. We're here in this human life to change ourselves, not just to try to be ourselves. That's an illusion because we don't know who we are. Being ourselves is an illusion in our conditioned state because that's not what we are. We try to be. But the idea is that we utilize that and we try to change our consciousness so we become Krishna conscious. So when Lord came as Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago, many of his associates came. One of them, or 6 of them, were the 6 Goswamis. Today is the appearance day of Raghunath Das Goswami. Jai. And he appeared in Bengal and in the family of devotees. They were maybe a little materialistic. Son of Govardhan Majumdar and his uncle Hiranya Majumdar. And when he was a young child, he appeared maybe, no one keeps an accurate record in those days. You know what it's like in India. They didn't have all these directories and birth certificates and things you have now. So even Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, the dates that you see given are not accurate. They're approximate. Then he writes that. So for the sake of it, he gives a date, but he says this is not actually necessarily the exact date. So the date given is about 1504 on our schedule, on our life. Whether it's true or not, nobody really knows exactly. But when he was a young child, very young child, Haridas Thakur came to the house of his parents on the request of Balaramacharya, who was the priest, house priest. He preached, or he spent time there preaching, and Raghunath had his association and was very inspired by Haridas Thakur. So, of course, later on he got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's association when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, particularly after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and returned to Bengal. Raghunath Das had his association, but when he had the association of Lord Chaitanya, Radha and Krishna in the form of Gauranga, then Raghunath became completely, he had no more interest in this world. He just wanted to join Lord Chaitanya. And of course he went back home, and his family, his mother and father, could see that their child, their son now, is becoming very restless. He's like a madman. He has no more interest in business. His family were businessmen. They were very expert businessmen. They were landowners and so on, tax collectors and so many things. But their son, their only son, the heir to the whole, you could say, domain, was no longer interested in this business. So they were really worried. So they thought the best thing to do, get their son married. That's what they do, get them married. Everyone thinks like that, more or less. So they got their son married to the most beautiful girl, because they were very rich and he was very handsome. So they got him married to the most beautiful girl they could think of or find. And they thought that will tie him down, but it didn't work. Didn't work. By the way, this is not some kind of, we're not trying to preach this to you. We can't imitate this, but this is the situation with Raghunath. He's not an ordinary person, he's an eternal associate. And he had no interest in all of this business, family affairs. And he was always trying to run away from home. But his parents would always catch him. They had many guards. They would always bring him back. Practically, they had him locking him up, practically. And he was practically under lock and key, more or less. But he was mad to get the association of Lord Chaitanya. Many things happened in between. We haven't got time to get in so many details here. We want to learn something from this, not just hear about it. So then at one point of time, a little bit later, Lord Chaitanya's associate, you see on the author here, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda was sent to Bengal on the order of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, after sannyas, went to Jagannath Puri and resided there. And then he sent his closest associate, Nityananda, back to Bengal to preach. So when Lord Nityananda came back to Bengal, he happened to come very close to the home of Raghunath Das, a place called Panihati. So, actually, Raghunath Das was behaving a little bit better, but still he was trying to escape. So the parents allowed him to go to see Lord Nityananda. He had a few people with him. He wasn't alone, but he went to see Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is not exactly Lord Chaitanya. So he went to see him, and Lord Nityananda was sat there on the bank of the Ganga in Panihati, with hundreds and hundreds of associates all gathered on the banks of the river. A beautiful place underneath an ashwata, underneath a beautiful tree, like an ashwata tree, a banyan type tree. They're all sat there, and then Raghunath Das approaches from a distance. And he sees Nityananda far, far away. And Raghunath offers his obeisances from a distance. And Lord Nityananda noticed someone, who is that offering obeisances, as if they are a thief. A thief. Sometimes thieves, they stay at a distance, they don't get too close. So he said, who is that? And then someone said, that's Raghunath Das offering obeisances. Bring him here. And so they brought him right up, and Lord Nityananda put his foot right on his head and said, you are a thief. You are a thief. At a distance, you are a thief. Well, this is a long story of how his family were accused of theft, actually. He bailed his family out from theft. He was a very expert diplomat. So that's another story. Anyway, the real meaning of being a thief was that one thing we have to learn in Krishna consciousness, if we want to go back to God, if we want to Krishna to reveal, his full mercy, or whatever you want to call it, is that we can't directly go to Krishna. You can't do that. You may think you can. You may want to. That's okay in one sense. But if we're really sincere, we understand that's not how it works. Even if you want to see, maybe the Prime Minister of New Zealand's a little different, but most presidents and Prime Ministers, you can't just go and see them. You have to go through a whole system. Secretaries, applications, reason has to be there. So Lord Nityananda's real meaning of you are a thief is that actually Lord Chaitanya is the property of Lord Nityananda. Basically speaking, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers Lord Nityananda like his, elder brother, yes, you could say, but also in the sense he's the property of Lord Nityananda. And it's a very personal, intimate thing. So you cannot approach Lord Chaitanya. He's my property. And what it means is, Lord Nityananda is Adi Guru. He's the original Guru. He's Lord Balaram in the form of Nityananda. He's known as Adi Guru. We have to go through Guru to approach Lord Chaitanya. So that's what he means. You can't go direct. You've got to go through the right channels. That's what he's inferring in this particular example. Then Raghunath, then he said, I have to punish you. You're a thief. You're going to be punished now. Thieves have to be punished. An appropriate punishment is there for you. You have to organize a great feast for all, myself and all of the associates here today. Raghunath was in ecstasy because his family were very rich, so he immediately called upon his servants to arrange a grand feast. Lord Nityananda said, I want a feast of Chiradoi feast. It means chipped rice and yogurt. Very simple. So servants brought masses of yogurt, dahi, and masses of chipped rice, flat rice, and masses of other things, bananas. They made all kinds of preparations. Tons and tons, there were hundreds of devotees. Tons and tons of preparations were made out of chipped rice, yogurt, bananas, mangoes, condensed milk, sugar, different types of ingredients, ghee, different things were blended in different ways, mixed or soaked in different ways to produce so many wonderful preparations. And they were all there. And then as soon as all the local people heard there was a feast, they immediately descended on the place. There were thousands of people suddenly appeared for the feast. And all the shopkeepers suddenly appeared, set up all their stalls to sell their goods there, as they do any fair. You go see it. Any ISKCON program, you see all kinds of people coming to sell things. They all turned up with their wares, especially foodstuffs. Raghunath Das would buy everything, prepare everything, nice foodstuffs, and then give it back to them in the form of prepared foods. So they got double blessing there, double mercy. And this grand feast was held, and at the end of this wonderful festival, then Lord Nityananda blessed Raghunath and asked all the other devotees to please kindly bless him that very soon his desires would be fulfilled. That they would be fulfilled. But he also said, you should be, don't act like a madman. Behave normally. So he did. He behaved quite normally after that, as if he'd become sober, a normal person of this world, so to speak. So the parents relaxed their guard a little bit. And the time came when it was time for Raghunath to join Lord Chaitanya. So one night he was sleeping in the Durga Mandap part of the house. In Bengal, most houses have a Durga Mandap. And Raghunath was sleeping there in the Durga Mandap. And in the middle of the night, the family guru, Yadunandanacharya, appeared on the scene. And he woke Raghunath in his sleep. Wake up, Raghunath, wake up. Wake up. I need your help. Very urgent. My priest has left. The one who's doing the puja. I need you to come and help to do the puja or to convince him to come back. Please come with me. So the priest was asking him. There was no guards around. And Raghunath immediately left with the priest. They went into the forest, through the forest towards the Yadunandana's temple. And Raghunath is looking around. No guards are there. No one is following. It's the middle of the night. Halfway towards the temple, he took his chances. He disappeared into the forest. Yadunanda went on, and Raghunath disappeared into the jungle, practically. Of course, what happened to Yadunanda, we won't say, but in the morning, when Raghunath's parents woke up, they saw Raghunath was not there. Where is he? Where has he gone? They couldn't understand. What's happened? He's left. Oh no! They called the priest. Adnan said, yes, well, he left. I can't remember if you remember exactly why. Maybe he said, I will go and bring the priest back or something. There was some reason. He disappeared. No idea where he's gone. Immediately they sent guards in every direction to try to pull him back, find him and bring him back home. At that time, many devotees were leaving to go to Puri for the Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath. They sent guards there. Shivananda Sen, who was in charge of the party, said, we've not seen him. He didn't come here. They were thunderstruck. It's like their whole life. Oh, he's gone, he's gone. Oh. You know how it is. And if your son ever joins the temple, it's like that, isn't it? Devastation. Or your daughter. So Raghunath for many, many days was going through the jungle. He was barely eating nothing, just a little milk now and again. And eventually, after many, many days, he reached Puri, going through the jungles. And when he reached Puri, it happened to be that Lord Chaitanya was there. Immediately, he came and met with Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was very happy to see him. And immediately, Lord Chaitanya asked his secretary, Swarup Damodar, please, Raghunath is yours. He became the Raguru Swarup. And Swarup Damodar, Lord Chaitanya's secretary, then took care, you could say, of Raghunath, to guide him and look after him in that way, in Puri. Of course, the parents eventually found out that their son was in Puri, and they resigned to the fact, what can we do? What can we do? He's convinced. You can't convince a man against his will. He's of the same opinion still. He was convinced. And they were also convinced, nothing much they can do. They tried their best. They tried to save him, but there was nothing they could do. This all sounds rather weird from the material point of view. It's not quite the sort of thing. But this is pure, hopefully it's purifying some of us at least. And hopefully it'll help us eventually to reach the objective goal of life. We have our duties to do, but ultimately we have a higher duty. So then when they found out, they thought, oh, Raghunath, he was brought up like a prince practically. He's living a renounced life now in Puri. So they started to send money to him through various servants and secretaries. They would send wealth to him, And so this money was coming, and Raghunath wasn't sure what to do about this. He left that behind. He didn't want anything to do with it. But on consultation, he accepted this wealth, and he used it all for preparing food, prasadam, big feasts for service to Lord Chaitanya and all the devotees. So this was going on 2 or 3 days. It's very warm. Oh, it's the sun on there, isn't it? It's like a heater, isn't it? It's like a heater. 2 or 3 days a month, he was preparing these grand feasts. This was going on for quite some time like this. After a while, Raghunath decided this is not good, and kind of living off the wealth of it, like this, a material attachment almost still there. So he decided no more, and he stopped doing that. And Lord Chaitanya said, what's happened? Raghunath's not inviting us anymore for any of these feasts, So then Swarup Damodar said, no, he stopped that. Considering this is still a connection with the material world, it's not good for spiritual life. And now he's begging in front of the Singadwar gate in front of Lord Jagannath's temple. So Raghunath Das was going every day and just like a beggar there, whatever people gave, whatever alms. After a while, Lord Chaitanya said, that's very good. After a while, he gave that up, and he was just taking from the free food stalls. After a while, he gave that up. And then Lord Chaitanya said, where is he now? We don't see him anywhere. And Swarup Damodar informed him what was going on. And so then Lord Chaitanya went there personally to see what Raghunath was doing. On the side of the Jagannath Puri temple, maybe it's changed now, but they used to have an area where all the rice left over prasadam, which was basically unservable, was put out, and the cows and other animals would come and eat what they wanted. Raghunath was there. He was taking from that rejected food, washing it a little bit, Ori Prashadam, and that's what he was living on, some rejected rice. Lord Chaitanya came and saw him there. He said, Raghunath, what are you doing? He caught him. What are you doing? You're having a feast here every day and you're not inviting me? Give me some. No, my lord, no. Lord Chaitanya grabbed some. This is the most, Lord Chaitanya said, this is the most ecstatic prasadam he's ever experienced. It's ecstasy. It's not a question of whether it's opulent or not. The Lord, another lesson we learn from this is that it's not that Krishna accepts our opulent cooking or our expert cooking. What does he accept? Pardon? Bhakti, or our love. Pretty purvakam, our loving affection. He accepts the love. He doesn't need. You think we can compete with Maria Soda or Radharani? No way. Is this the wig coming in? Here comes the wig. Good boy. Kavi. Haribol, Kavi. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you again. Haribol. So Lord Chaitanya was very pleased with Raghunath Das. And for many, many years, Raghunath Das resided there in Jagannath Puri with Lord Chaitanya's, getting Lord Chaitanya's association pretty much every day. One time he asked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Raghunath was in the renounced order of life now, of course, and he asked him, please to give some instructions for those in the renounced order of life. Lord Chaitanya referred him to Srup Damodar. So he received those instructions for those in the renounced order. 4 instructions he received. And to different degrees they're relevant to all of us, but especially for those in the renounced order of life. The first one was, don't eat opulent food. Well, that's a relative instruction, isn't it? I mean, what counts as opulent to one is not opulent to another. But you get the idea. The second one was, don't dress in fancy clothes. The third one was, don't talk any prajapa or gramyakata, mundane talk. No mundane talk. And the fourth one is, in your heart of hearts, you should always meditate upon Radha and Krishna in your heart. Positive one. The 3 don'ts are very interesting. It's described, I think Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, or maybe, I don't know, some Bhakti, someone described them like this, that eating opulent food, of course it can affect others, but primarily it affects ourselves. It's your own consciousness which is affected or benefited. Of course, if you offer everything to Krishna, that's something, a different category, but this is general instruction for sannyasis, given by Lord Chaitanya through Srup Damodar to Raghunath Das. Don't eat opulent food. And they describe this affects yourself primarily. Not so good for a sannyasi to eat too much opulent food. Secondly, dressing fancy. That's worse, because that affects others around you more. Fashions. People are fashion conscious. And, a little bit of a show-off there. But the third one is the worst of all, Gramyakata. That affects everyone, especially nowadays with your wonderful social media. You put, with one press of a button, the whole world is misinformed. Isn't it? One press of a button, the whole world can be misinformed. Whatever it is about. So Gramyakata is like, it's a lesson there. At least we can try to minimize or avoid Gramyakata. Grihastas, naturally, they have children, they have business, they dress a little fancy sometimes, I suppose, especially for festivals, and will also eat opulently sometimes. It's not under some kind of, I guess, part of life somehow. But we should try to minimize. We're here for spiritual life, we're here for love of God. We're not here to enjoy our senses only. A certain amount, of course. So that's the instructions he got. Lord Chaitanya was so pleased with Raghunath Das that he gave him his own Govardhan Shila, as well as, what was it? Some conch, Gunjamala, exactly, Gunjamala. The Gunjamala, which usually goes with Govardhan Shila or with Shalagram Shila, depending which one. And like this, he gave him his own, which Lord Chaitanya himself had been worshipping. Lord Chaitanya wound his pastimes up in this world on a Western calendar date in 1430, was it 34? 1534. Raghunath had been with him for many decades. At that time, Raghunath was considering there's no point staying in this world anymore. He wanted to leave the world. Lord Chaitanya told him to go to Vrindavan to associate with the other Goswamis there. So he went to Vrindavan, but his intention was to jump off the top of Govardhan Hill. Now, Govardhan Hill doesn't look so high to us now. It may have been a little bit higher then, I don't know. But that was his intention, to leave his body at Govardhan. But Rupa and Sanatan, two of the other Goswamis, they knew exactly the mind of Raghunath. So they told him, your body belongs to Lord Chaitanya. It's not yours to decide what to do with. This is another lesson. We should remember that our body, although we have a certain amount of free will, you could say, ultimately belongs to the Lord and is meant for his service. It's not I can do it. And there's a very popular philosophy now amongst some quarters, sections of society, amongst the females particularly. This is my body, I can do anything I like with it. There's whole movements based on this, especially when it comes to the child in the womb. It's my body, I can do what I like with it. Not only is that materially, I don't want to use a too heavy a word, but a complete sin in one sense. But it's also a total misunderstanding. It is not my body. This body is not mine. You're owning this house, I presume. Yeah, you're owning it. Some of you are renting a house. Fair enough. You might say this is my home, but it's not really your house, is it? You're renting it. This body is like that. We have it for a little while, and then you have to say goodbye to it. It's not really ours. If it was ours, we'd never let go of it. We do what we want with it. You can't do what you want with your body. Can you stop your body getting old or sick? You try your best, but you can't stop it. We can't even stop our karmas coming in. It's out of our control. So this body actually is the material energy which belongs to Krishna. Mayajikshena prakriti, sute sacharacha. It belongs to Krishna. This material energy. Everything belongs to God. So to realize our body, our family, our wealth, our life, everything belongs to Krishna, not us. So this is a basic premise of spiritual life, which hardly anyone takes into account. We think is ours. So they of course you already knew that. This is all part of the Lord's arrangement, you could say. So they said, this body is to be used for Lord Chaitanya, and it's not, your business is not to give it up like this. It's not yours to give up. It's been offered to Lord Chaitanya. It has to be used for him. So he stayed there with the Goswamis, the other Goswamis then, for many, 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 many years in Vrindavan. And particularly he resided in, as we heard earlier, Govardhan Radhakund. For many decades he was residing there. And many things could be said about that. They would, whilst he was in Radhakund performing his bhajans, one time, actually we go back, Badrinath. How many of you have been to Badrinath in the Himalayas? 3 or 4? Wonderful. In Badrinath one time there was one rich man. He was a merchant. His name was Set. His name was Set. He'd gone there to give great wealth in the service of the Lord. Whilst he was there, he had a very strong visionary dream telling him, take your wealth to Radhakund. Give it to Raghunath Das Goswami, who is residing there. And he will use it in the service of the Lord. Raghunath Das was thinking at the same time it would be very nice, because at that time Radhakund and Shyamakund were just 2 ponds. There's nothing, there's no arrangement for pilgrims or bathing or anything. Just 2 ponds. We think it'd be very nice if there was some nice facilities here for others who come to honor Radhakund and Shyamakund. So he brought it there and begged Raghunath Das to use it for whatever, in the service of the Lord. Raghunath was very hesitant, but then he became convinced, yes, maybe this should be used. So he oversaw the excavation of these ponds and the construction of Radhakund and Shamakund in Vrindavan, so that others could also come there, and the most holy of holy places could be properly revered and respected by everyone and understood for what they are, a little bit at least. Once they were excavated, he saw that many people were also coming, and they were doing things like bathing with soap and washing their clothes in the kunds, and that's not good. So he decided he would make a well nearby, and they started digging a well, and as they were digging a well near Radhakund, suddenly it hit a stone, and blood started to appear. What is going on? Immediately Raghunath stopped the excavation for the well. Something extraordinary is happening here. Then he had a visionary, real dream-like vision, and in that Govardhan appeared, and it was explained, told him that this was actually the tongue of Govardhan, Govardhan's tongue, which they touched. So then that became a holy place also. It's still there, the tongue of Govardhan. In this way he was worshipping, performing his bhajans at Radhakund, day after day after day. He had no bhajan kutir, he had no cover of any kind. He would just sit in the sun all day, chanting and performing his bhajan. One day, 2 tigers came. They were quite isolated in those days. It wasn't like today, there's a whole village there. That was just in the jungle in those days. One day 2 tigers came there to drink water. Raghunath was so absorbed he didn't even notice. So this was, you could say, very dangerous. Many tigers in the jungle. And Krishna himself came and protected Raghunath, making sure those tigers didn't come anywhere near. It so happened that Sanatana Goswami, one of the other Goswamis, was passing nearby. He saw this happening. And he said to Raghunath, no, you must have a kutir. You can't sit here like this. This is very dangerous. Very dangerous. That Krishna himself has to protect you from the danger. No. You must have a kutir. But he didn't take heed of that words of Sanatana at that time. But sometime later, it was so hot, middle of the summer, nobody was around. It was so hot, and Raghunath was sitting in the blazing sun, completely oblivious. I mean, if you sit in the blazing sun here, you'll probably have a stroke of some kind. It's so piercing, but it was very hot, and it gets really hot. Govardhan can get up to 50, 55 degrees centigrade in the summer. It was recorded. I saw it in the statistic. The hottest recorded urban temperature on the planet was in Govardhan. Urban. So at that time, Radharani herself appeared, and she held her own sari over his head to protect him from the sun. Again, Sanatana Goswami was nearby, and he saw this. He said, Raghunath, this is enough. It's one thing to engage Krishna in your service, but now you are engaging Radharani in your service. This is not acceptable. So he agreed to have a kutir, a little kutir, to protect from the sun or whatever it was. And there he wrote several books, Mukta Charita, Dhanakali, I don't know, different books he compiled there. Amongst all of the Goswamis, they don't appear just to, their business is not to engage Radha and Krishna in our service. We're always asking them for things, aren't we? We're praying to God for this and that. Give me this, give me that. Oh, help me with this, help me with that. That's not our real business. That's the neophyte, beginner's business. The real business in devotional service is what do they want? Like when we worship the deities, we don't just do it the way we want. We want to find out what they like. When we cook, what do they like to eat? If you're cooking, even if you're running a restaurant, you don't just cook what you like. You have to find out what your customers will be happy to take. You won't do any business otherwise. In devotional service, that's the whole essence of devotional service, is finding out what pleases Krishna. and trying to do that. That's called sacrifice, austerity. We try to do what Krishna wants, not what we want. One step up on the normal idea of relationship with God. So this again, what Krishna wants, not what you want. Raghunath may have been showing what it's like to perform austerities, not say my way in his case. He's just showing an example, you could say. First of his elevated position, the Lord will personally come to serve him. But that's not our business. Our business is to serve them. They may want to serve such a pure devotee, but our business is to serve them. And so amongst the Goswamis, they also come. They come for various reasons. We've heard some already. Or they came, along with Lord Chaitanya, for various reasons. And amongst them is to connect us through their writings, through their teachings, through their personal presence, to help connect us with the right understanding. Generally speaking, we don't have the right understanding, or the right siddhanta, or sambandhagyan, the initial knowledge of who we are, who is God. Many people think God is impersonal. Many people think there are many gods. Many people think there's no God. Many people think they're God. Or some false idea God is something material or something. They don't have the right understanding of who is God, that's one thing. And then who am I? Very few people have a realization of who they are, who we actually are. And what to speak of our relationship if we understand God, with God itself, himself. These are lacking in most cases. This is a basic sambandha understanding. Who am I? Who is God? What is my business? How am I supposed to relate to serve him? This is sambandhagyan. This was primarily represented by Sanatana Goswami. And there are deities who represent that too. The Lord appeared as Madha Mohan as the sambandhagyan formula, the initial connection or basic understanding of truth. The various tattvas are there. Then there's the process of realization. It's one thing to have knowledge. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the one who applies himself to this knowledge realizes this knowledge in due course of time. It's a great secret. Raja Vijay Raja Guyam Bhavitamida Mutam Patikshabhavam Damyam Susukam Kartamavhyam. This knowledge is the king of all knowledge. It's something which is pratyaksha, realized with purified senses. It's not realized just by knowledge or by remembrance, but it's realized when the Lord gives that revelation, you could say, within. And that revelation comes, by the Lord's grace, if we properly apply that knowledge in his service. So one who applies himself to this knowledge realizes this knowledge in due course of time. So Rupa Goswami represents this path. It's called Abhidheya-gyan, the path of the application of knowledge properly applied in our lives in the form of different limbs of devotional service. There are 9 limbs of devotional service. I think most of you are familiar with these 9 limbs. What are they? Shravanam Kirtanam. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Nice song by Govinda Dasa. In the Bhagavatam we see when Hiranyakashipu. Have everyone heard of Hiranyakashipu? When Hiranyakashipu was challenging his son, who was not submitting to him, Hiranyakashipu was asking his son, tell me, my dear son, what was the best thing you've learned today at school? Or at school? So when your son or daughter comes home, you may ask that question. Oh, today we learned that 3 times 4 equals 12. Woo! Today we learned ABCs. Good, good, good. But he said the best thing I've learned at school, the only thing of value that I've learned at school is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vedanam, like that. About Vishnu. His father was enraged. Hearing, chanting, remembering, praying, worshipping, serving, worshipping the lotus feet, befriending and offering everything to the Lord, Vishnu. What is this nonsense? He was enraged. But these are the 9 the main limbs of devotional service, particularly hearing and chanting about Krishna. So Abhideya, the application, proper application of knowledge under guidance of those who know, to lead to the ultimate goal, which is called prayojana. Raghunath Das was a living example of prayojana, the perfection. He was completely absorbed. All of these Goswamis are eternal associates, and they're just, for the sake of others, they may be, emphasizing certain things, but they're all on the highest platform. They're all eternal associates known as manjaris. Raghunath Das was an eternal manjari. And so many books and other. Perhaps what's the most famous book, I think, of Raghunath Das, is it? Written by Raghunath? Manasiksha, that's it. Most famous. And it's so, what can you say? So amazing. Deep. Deep, deep, deep. Revealing the highest truth, prayojana, the objective goal of everything. To enter into our eternal relationship with Krishna. So he represents that. Prayojana, he's the Prayojana Acharya, you could say. He was so absorbed in his bhajan, 24 hours a day. He would bathe every day 3 times in Radhakund. This is a very interesting topic, bathing in Radhakund. We don't have time. But it really is a state of consciousness which enables one to bathe in Radhakund. It's not just taking a bath like in a swimming pool. It's a state of consciousness. He would offer his obeisances every day, 1,000 times to the deities, and 2,000 times to devotees. That's a lot of obeisances. Bowing down. He saw everyone who entered Vrindavan as his master. He saw himself as the lowest of the low, and everyone else, not even only humans, other living entities, as his worshipful object practically. He was chanting every day 100,000 names, regularly circumambulating Govardhan Hill, all around Radhakund every day, circumambulating Radhakund and Shamakund, Dandavats. His sadhana was so strong, it said it was like lines on a stone. It was so rigid. His daily practices were so strong, so fixed. Externally it looked like a practitioner, but internally it was just completely absorbed in loving service to Radha and Krishna for their pleasure. So he's teaching this, how to mold one's life for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. Okay, so there's a little bit about Raghunath Das. There's many more things I'm sure you can remember. Stories of Raghunath when he was in Radhakund. Saki Stali, there's a famous story of, there was one devotee there in Radhakund named Das, just simple name Das, servant. One day, seeing that Raghunath Das was not sleeping, maybe 1 hour every few days. He didn't eat either. He was only taking a little buttermilk once in a while, just a little palmful. He stopped eating altogether. It wasn't like he was trying to force. He just didn't think about it. He was so absorbed. And this is how we become free of the material entanglement, the material attachments, the illusions. When we become so absorbed in devotional service, you haven't got time to think about these other things. No time. So he was 100% showing this. So absorbed. Even eating, he didn't even think. Sometimes it said his tongue would speak to him. Raghunath, please feed me. We're all going to die if you don't put something in here. We never get to that point. We're a long way from that point. 3 hours, we want something to go in the trap. Huh? After 3 hours, it's wagging. Well, I don't like that. I want, it would discriminate. But days would go by, nothing would go in. Not even a little buttermilk. Please feed us. We're going to die. I can say, no, don't. Can't you taste the sweet nectar of the name of Madhava? The elixir, the cream of nectar. Can't you take the sweet taste of sweet camphor rice? The form of the name, I don't know the exact names of this one and that, but the sound of Radha, the sound of Krishna, the sound of Govinda. Are these not satisfying you? This is such sweet taste. What's wrong? Just be satisfied with the sweet names. There's no need of anything else. But once in a while he would take a little buttermilk. Somebody would bring. They bring in a little cup plate, these leaf plate, you know. One day this Das, he bought a big leaf plate. And maybe he wanted to eat more. He bought a big leaf plate. When Raghunath saw this leaf cup, he said, "Where did you get that from?" "Oh, I was in the village of Sakistali. I found it there." You may not know, but Sakistali is a village near Govardhan. And who lives in Sakistali? Huh? Chandravali. And who is Chandravali? Ooh. Who is she? Huh? The opposite opponent? Huh? The competitor, right? Radharani's competitor. Competitor for what? Yes, for Krishna's attention. These two gopis, Radharani and Chandravali, are the head two top number. And they're like two different parties. It creates this excitement, this, you know, we like a little excitement. Yes, they're in the spiritual world. It's manifest in this world in a perverted way, so you get like political parties and opposition parties. In the spiritual world, it just increases the sweetness and the excitement of the rasa or the lila. So she lives there. As soon as Raghunath Das heard the word Sakistali, he took the plate and threw it on the floor with the buttermilk. He goes, "Ah! I can't touch this. How could you have gone to that place?" Because he's completely sold out to Radharani. Like that. He was residing there. Okay, anything else? Anything else to learn? Anything else to say? What can we learn? We're all living here in Christchurch, and most of you are stuck in family life and financial challenges and whatever else is going on in your lives. What can we learn from this? Amaya.
Lord Chaitanya instructed Raghunath not to be a fool, but to stay at home and be very dutiful, but within his heart always remember Radha and Krishna.
Very good, thank you. We just touched on that very briefly. We didn't go into such detail. Stay at home and be normal, and everything will come in time. So that's a very important lesson at our stage, isn't it? You don't run away like Raghunath does. Even if you do, you won't work. Many devotees, even in ISKCON, have tried this. They tried to give it all up. I remember in 1976 there was one brahmachari wanted to live like what we call Babaji. You know? He wanted to just do nothing basically other than live on simple life and chant Hare Krishna all day. So Prabhupada gave him blessings. He actually awarded him that opportunity. He didn't last long, a few months, and he was gone. I don't think we saw him again. He just kind of disappeared. Sat there for a while, chanting 64 rounds in the forest nearby, and then he left. Another one did it because he had what he thought was terminal cancer. But for some reason his visa ran out, so he went back to somewhere in America. And then they discovered he didn't, and he was okay, so he gave it all up. This is artificial renunciation. We're not ready for it, you know. It has to be natural. So, yes, we stay in our situation. This is one of the prime instructions of Lord Chaitanya. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling in India, he went to various places. He came to one place called Kurkshetra. And in that place, there's one Brahmin there who wanted to leave home, leave his family and go join him. Lord Chaitanya said, "No, you stay here. You don't leave." And he gave him one of the most important instructions in our whole, you could say our whole lives, our whole movement. You remember that instruction? Amar Agar Guru Tarani Desh. You stay where you are. You study your Shastra, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Live it in your home. Teach it to others. You become a guru where you are and deliver everyone. So right here in Christchurch, but you have to take it here from the Bhagavad, right source, not just from any source. Many Indian devotees, Indian people have Bhagavad Gita, but it does nothing to you except for just keep it in your room. And even if you read it, it doesn't change your life because it's not giving you the direction which is required to change your life. It's someone else's interpretation. You have to hear it from a pure devotee of the Lord, who then can present it in a way which you can use. But we have to hear it. We have to regularly hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam if we want a change of heart there. Or if we want to preach, we'll share it with others. That's our business. Every one of you. Lord Chaitanya actually also ordered everyone of Indian origin. Huh? What did he say? You should, what? Preach? What's that famous verse? Bharata? Yes. Bharata Bhumite Hoila Manushya Janmajara Satakakara Kara Para Upakara. That everyone of Indian origin, what should they do? What should they do? Yeah, well, you should cultivate your own Krishna consciousness, of course, and preach it to others. That's our duty. And then again, he said everyone should do this, but particularly those of Indian origin, because it's in your blood. It's so fortunate to get this opportunity, isn't it? Brahmanda Brahmite Kom Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. We're so fortunate after so many lifetimes, God knows how many, of traveling through the universe in different life forms to have attained a human form of life. And in a human form of life, we have this opportunity to meet an eternal associate of the Lord or a pure devotee, one who's become a Nitya Siddha or an eternal associate. It's so rare and so fortunate. Because in that association, what happens? Transformation. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoi. A moment's association with a sadhu. What happens? In a moment. Huh? What happens?
All perfection.
Oh, and can attain all perfection. It may not happen on the spot. It can do also. It may take a little time, but that's the beginning of one's perfection of life. Huh? And what happens? Another thing happens when we get that opportunity to meet such a great devotee. Bhakti Lata Beach.
All that troublesome to the heart gets destroyed.
That's another thing. The heart becomes cleansed in their association. And Bhakti Lata Beach, what happens? What is Bhakti Lata Beach?
Guru Kripa.
Love for Krishna.
Yeah, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, one gets the seed. The seed of pure devotion. You could say the seed is there, is inherent within everyone. But by the association of the devotees, that seed fructifies. It starts to manifest. It's as good as not there at all up to then. It manifests. It starts to fructify in their association. So important. Opportunity. And even just by hearing about these great devotees, we're not on that platform, we have to be honest. But just by hearing about them, this can purify us. Maybe, hopefully inspire us to also progress a little bit. Think a little bit more. Understanding the higher purpose of human life. Otherwise we get bogged down with the lower purposes, and everybody knows that sometimes the lower purposes are not so joyful as we like them to be. The strain and the stress and the struggle of life in this day and age. Even in Christchurch, one of the most peaceful, you could say, I don't know, sleep is the word, but most peaceful places in the world amongst cities. Practically, I don't know how much experience you've all got. I don't know how many thousands of cities I visited in my life. I mean, there's many I haven't been to, but there's thousands I have, everywhere from China to Russia to America to Europe to Africa to Australia to India, of course, to Pakistan to Bangladesh. And been all over the place. Big, small, medium, communist, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, atheist, all over the place. But this is one of the quietest, peaceful, green city. I was saying to Pushpa, if any city in the world deserves the title of garden city, Christchurch does. It's like a garden city. It's so, so many trees here everywhere. Trees everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's trees. It's hardly a street you go down without trees in it. Huh? Trees everywhere. From that point of view, it's nice. But it can have the opposite effect. You become a little bit laid back as well. Take it easy. Pressure. But even there, many of you know quite well how much stress we can feel even in Christchurch. Huh? People have mental health problems. So all the other problems are there too. People have cancer here. They have so many things, problems, everything. Health problems, wealth problems, emotional problems, family problems, economic problems, isn't it? Even here. Everywhere you go in the world, it's like that. And we realize that there's a higher purpose and a reason for all these things which can spur us on towards that higher purpose sometimes. We realize there's no way we're going to fulfill our inner heart's desires in this material world. Try as much as you like. Even if you do go to the moon, you still won't be happy. You won't be happy at all if you go to the moon, I can assure you. Nothing there for us in our stage. So let's try to do what we can to help bring a bit of auspiciousness to this world. Auspiciousness. Krishna consciousness is the most auspicious state of consciousness. Let's try our best to try to share that with others. Are we ready? Some of you may be. We'll run out on the streets now into Christchurch. There's roaring kirtan. There'll be nobody there. Maybe a few drunks. I don't know what you have in Christchurch at 9 o'clock at night. I have no idea. On a Tuesday night. Monday or Tuesday day? Monday, isn't it? Monday night. Probably not much. I don't know. There's not many people around most of the time. You go to Paris, at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's like 10 times busier than the rush hour in Christchurch. Someone was telling me, oh God, there's so much traffic, it's just terrible. It's almost like...
Go to the Philippines.
Yeah, the Philippines, Manila. They have a saying, have anyone been to Manila? Manila's the capital of the Philippines, you get free parking in Manila. That's one of the good things. In the city centre, you can park your car free. Not on the motorway. You're stuck for 3 hours on the motorway without moving an inch. Free parking, I suppose you could say. As long as you don't run out of petrol. Paris is a little bit better, but it's also like a jam all the time. It takes hours. It took one. I sent him on 2 errands to go to 2 houses in a city just to deliver a little box in each house. And it was just like 15 kilometers, 25, 30, 40 kilometers total. It took him 7 hours. 40 kilometers drive, 7 hours.
Advancement of civilization.
Yeah, very advanced. Very advanced. It takes you 2 hours to cross over the city. It takes you 2 hours to walk, and it takes you 2 hours to drive.
That's why the French make good comedy movies.
They make good comedy movies.
You gotta laugh at it.
You've got to laugh at it. It's difficult for them to laugh at their own. But they know what to do. We have to learn to laugh at ourselves. It used to take, I'm told, I don't know how far you are from the city here, but Rolleston is 30 minutes from the city, isn't it? And it used to take 30 minutes by horse, and now it's only half an hour by car. That's really good. Pretty good. It was 30 minutes by horse, but now it's only half an hour. Pretty good,
Amazing.
It's amazing, It's really advanced. What to do? Hare Krishna. What else can you learn from this? That was a really good point. I like it.
Today is 52nd sannyas anniversary of Srila Gurudev, Tamal Krishna Maharaj.
How many?
52.
Oh, Tamal Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Is that real?
Yes.
Isn't
And,
that amazing?
I was listening to his lecture where he was saying that when Srila Prabhupada gave him sannyas, he also gave him the prayer to Raghunath Das Goswami.
To Raghunath Das. Which one?
Raghunath Das Goswami,
Pardon?
the renunciate.
To Raghunath Das?
Oh, I don't remember the prayer. I was trying to remember, and then it was just all about protection. I've got the lecture if you want.
Yeah. Send out the prayer. Yeah, Prabhupada gave different instructions to different... There's general ones and the specific ones. My favourite one is the one he gave to Vishnu Jan Swami when he took sannyas. He said, your duty now is to dance and get everyone else to dance. I like that one.
For Srila Gurudev, it was for protection, like to be renounced.
To be renounced, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's the prayers, so of course, there's the prayers of the Avanti Brahmin. That's the usual one, Etan Sastara. That's the usual one. There may be detailed ones given too on sannyas. Real renunciation is not, as we mentioned today, is not giving up things that don't belong to us. It's rather recognizing everything belongs to Krishna and using it in Krishna's service. Krishna das, evishvas, kolito dukonai. Hare Krishna.
I was just wondering if it's noisy.
No, it's good.
Sorry, pardon?
I was just wondering if it's noisy out here.
What do you say?
It's noisy.
Who's that making a noise? No, it's okay. Let them play. Let the music go on. It's their level of consciousness. You have to facilitate it. Any other example? Any other thing you'd like to ask or say? About anything. There's another hand gone up. I only know when you speak.
Maharaj, this morning you were talking about Gopinath and the...
Oh yeah, Raghunath Das worshipping Gopinath.
Yes. And I tend to share whatever stories I hear like that, I tend to share with my grandchild. So is it appropriate to share with them, because sometimes children can imitate and copy?
Which stories?
Raghunandan Thakur feeding the deity.
Oh, of Gopinath, yeah, with
Yes.
Raghunandan Thakur, yeah. Is it appropriate to share it with your family?
Share with the little children.
Everything can be shared, but it's like many things. You tell stories to your children. You have to tell it in such a way it's digestible and meaningful. So it depends if they're very small, but you have to judge according to their capacity to receive. Everything's like that. I mean, I've spoken many things tonight which are probably totally irrelevant, not irrelevant in any way in one sense, but not digestible to everyone here tonight. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, I don't know. But because, we're all different levels of involvement in our consciousness, different ways. So the main thing is, when you're talking in general, that will always be the case. You'll never find that everyone in an open form is on the same platform. But when you're talking to children or individuals or in a collection of like-minded persons, then generally you have to know. It's like Prabhupada, he wouldn't speak very much intimacy in general, in the association. Most of us are still, maybe, but were certainly neophytes when Prabhupada was on the planet. And he would speak very simply. If you listen to Prabhupada's lectures in general, they're quite simple. And they're quite not repetitive exactly, but they go over the same thing again and again from different angles. I'm listening to Prabhupada's lectures right now, and they're systematic. So there may be 10 lectures on the same verse in different places at different times. And they're very similar. He brings up the same examples, the same points, again and again, until we really get it, I suppose. And in any case, those in Caracas or those in Los Angeles or those in London or in Auckland or whatever they are, they all need to hear it. We didn't have such social interaction in those days. There wasn't internet, there were no computers, there were no mobiles. So, you know, he would say the same thing here and the same thing there because each pocket was at a certain level of advancement. So, but at the same time, of course, the pure devotees will reveal more when we're ready. Very intimate things are only revealed to those who are on a very advanced or more advanced level of consciousness. So basic things. If we can't get Sambandha Gyan together, then what can we do after that? What more can we do? I mean, you can unknowingly or fortunately engage in some form of abhideva or some form of service, which is great. But to really advance, one has to at least have accepted the basics of who we are, who is God, what is my relationship with Him, and knowledge about the material universe in terms of its purpose, in terms of, you know, its energies and so on. Different types of knowledge are generally foundationally required. And Prabhupada was mainly harping on that, mainly focusing on that. He wouldn't get into intimacy. So when it comes to these pastimes, and this is perhaps, are you still there? I don't know. Put my glasses on, I can't see. You are? Yeah, you are still there. Okay. I'll ask for another question if you've gone already. You're asked to understand. It's like if you're feeding your child, you know. Now, when you have a little baby, every mother knows, you can't give the baby gulab jamuns when it's one day old. Is that right? Am I correct? I've never fed a 1-year-old baby, so I don't know. But I've heard. You can't give, they can't digest. Is that right? They simply can't digest it. No way. They take mother's breast milk or something like that, and that's what they can digest. But after a certain period of time, they're ready to digest something a little more. But you can't, when they take their first grains in a prasana ceremony, do you give them a samosa? You give them a samosa? You might like a samosa, and you think, this samosa is good, I cooked it, it must be good. Or a nice big chapati, a raj roti, you know, with some hot curry, chickpeas, hot curry. You know, you give them some blend, it's almost like milk, but just a little blended with rice or some semolina. Something very soft, isn't it? Like some blended thing, you know. And slowly, slowly, their capacity to digest grows, and even slowly you may feed them a little bit more. And after some time, of course, they can more or less take most things, if not all things. Some children can't take it. They can't take certain things. They have some allergies. You've got to find out what the digestive capacity is. It's not, and you may have to blend it. Okay, you're giving them sweet rice, but you may have to blend it. So, you know, you're giving them the story, but you have to tell them in such a way that it becomes digestible or understandable to them or meaningful to them, you know? You know, yeah, you tell bedtime stories to your kids. You don't kind of, even the Krishna book, we have Krishna books for kids. So Parvati Mataji, she did Krishna books for children, making it much simpler for them to kind of follow and plug into, like that. Everything should be done in a way which is according to the educations like that. You educate a kid at 1, 2 years old, 5 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. Different levels of education are there. You have to know accordingly what the capacity of the child is. So yes, you can, but you have to see the capacity of the child and how it will affect the child. So you have to take the effect into account as well. Some children are more able to digest, more mature, and so on and so forth. They may be more interested. You have to see what will capture their attention. Anything else? Ami. You have a nice name, Ami, friend. Mon ami. My friend. Ami means friend in French.
In terms of trying to take shelter of the 6 Goswamis, do we see it that Srila Prabhupada was representing Sambandha Abhidaya Prajana, so we just take shelter of Prabhupada? Or, like, for instance, do you have any, like, of the previous acharyas that you are particularly attracted to, that you take shelter of?
That may happen naturally in devotees' lives. They may be attracted like that. We were encouraged always to keep the picture of the 6 Goswamis. Srila Prabhupada had to keep it on the altar. Prabhupada said personally they are 6 gurus. They are our Siksha Gurus. They're not Siksha Gurus, they're our Siksha Gurus. We see that our whole Siddhanta has basically been revealed by them in the form of their written literature. The main literatures for the guidebooks for devotees are basically Rupa Goswami's compilations of Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction. We have many other books of the Goswamis, which we're encouraged to read at certain points of time. Prabhupada is definitely the essence of those teachings of the Goswamis or the writings is contained in Prabhupada's books. But at the same time, if it inspires you, it inspires us to follow Srila Prabhupada. It inspires us to read Bhagavatam. It inspires us to perform Sankirtan when we remember the Goswamis also. Prabhupada was very much into, the 6 Goswamis. He loved this song, Krishna Kirtana Gananatana Paro. He saw this as basically the bhajan for our progress, in the sense that we're all meant, as we heard 2 days ago, we're all meant to become Goswamis. Man, woman, child, anyone who wants. Controlling our senses, using them in Krishna's service. So in that sense, there's no necessity, there's no absoluteness there, but if you're inspired by Rupa Goswami or by Jiva Goswami or by Rupa Raghunath Das Goswami, we don't imitate. We can pray to them, we may follow, we may sort of try to hear about them and see where the lessons can be learned and apply them in our lives, that we can become better servants of Srila Prabhupada and his mission. And we can pray to them that we become better servants of Srila Prabhupada's mission. And they're always there for us, the Goswamis. They're very special in our mission. They've established the principles, the appropriate principles, Siddhanta, religious principles to be applied in this age, for Vaishnavas at least. So that's not a forced thing, that's a matter of individuality. Others, we ask, if we go around, you'll probably find every devotee who's practicing in Vaishnavism has a particular, other than Srila Prabhupada or your direct initiating guru or some local Siksha guru, whatever, you probably have some inspiration from, past acharyas. Do you have one? Who?
I particularly, I've studied more Raghunath Das.
Raghunath Das. When I first joined the movement, Raghunath Das was a great inspiration for me. Anyone else? Anyone else like to share something? Why you find him attractive?
Well, a couple of factors. Because of where I've stayed, in Radhakulam, living a room there, his samadhi, I visit every day. So
You were visiting every day. You were living there for quite a while, weren't you? You developed a relationship there. He's still there. This is the amazing thing. They are still here. It's not just some past sentiment. They are still present, and they basically reveal themselves according to your relationship. They're still present. We just can't see them with mundane eyes. Anyone else have a particular? Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? What inspires you there?
His songs,
His bhajans. Hundreds and hundreds of bhajans he compiled, which we love to sing one tonight. Oh hey, Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Edase Karuna Kori, Diyapada Chaya Shodaheya Maya Tomara Shakatiyate. Like that. Beautiful, beautiful songs. That one's all about, begging the mercy of the devotees. Only by their grace can we make advancement. Only by their grace can we control our senses. Only by their grace can we get a taste for the holy name. So Bhaktivinoda, and he wrote so many amazing scriptures. Prabhupada said, it's not that we start with that, and some of us have some kind of hang up there. But Prabhupada said we should read his books. We don't read them first. But there's books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, an enormous number of books he wrote. What's the most? Prabhupada said 2, particularly he said we should understand and study. Do you know what they are? Jaiva Dharma and Chaitanya Shikshamrit. These two books are just unbelievable. No person could possibly say that these books are possible to be read by even the most accumulation of the most genius people on the planet. They are written from somebody who is seeing things from another plane and seeing exactly what's going on our plane. They're written from another dimension. Incredible, prolific writer, songs, hundreds, books, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens. Incredible, big text, long text. And without all the modern amenities, no Google search, no this or that, no database, nothing.
He was managing Jagannath Temple.
And on top of that, he had 12 kids, not all survived. He was the manager of the Jagannath Temple in Puri, and he was practically the chief magistrate in Puri all at the same time. Any one of those things would overwhelm a normal person. You imagine if you have 12 kids, what will you do? You have a hard time with one. Well, to speak if you were the chief magistrate, dealing with like numerous cases every day, he didn't bat around for 6 years over nothing, just to get money. You know, it's obvious the guy's a thief. After 5 minutes evidence, in prison, bang. You don't have to beat around the bush. The guy's a thief. He needs to go to prison, simple as that. You don't need to spend 6 months and $5 million trying to prove he's not. He's a thief, simple as that. He was like that. He was as sharp as a razor.
Right, I've been reading Jai Dharma the last year or two, and I find it really relates to us in the modern world.
It certainly does.
Well, what is Vaishnava Dharma is the main topic, right?
Yeah, that's
It
ultimately.
cuts through, it's not based on your caste or your
Not at all.
nationality.
But it takes it's every level, whatever level you're on, he's bringing Vaishnava Dharma into it. Whatever level, whatever religion you're in, whatever you are, he's bringing it in relationship with Vaishnava Dharma, the eternal Dharma of the soul. And to the highest point, of course, that's way beyond us right now. But we should know what the goal is. You don't, deny it. We should know what it is. So many good reasons. His brilliant example as a householder and maintaining his family, and at the same time his occupation, and being absolutely Krishna conscious. We can't imitate him quantitatively, but at least we can try to follow in our own little way his example. There's no real excuse.
And being under attack, Bishop was saying, and others.
Yeah, he taught how to continue under all kinds of duress and attacks from various sources, and that's another long story, but there are so many instances of that. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj also taught that. He was also physically attacked, life threatened. I don't know, it's difficult to say. They're all inspirational, aren't they? When you think about it, they're all big inspirations in our life. Haridas Thakur, what an inspiration for those who want to cultivate the real essential practice of Nam Seva, chanting the holy name. Who more than Haridas Thakur? What's that verse I learn and forget? Dasa Aparada. You remember that? I'm sure you got it. A wonderful verse in the Harinam Chintamani of Haridas Thakur, praying to Mahaprabhu, may the 10 offences never, affect me while I chant your holy name, and I can develop chant in the Namaras with a real taste for chanting. It's for us. We're giving these prayers. Not that he's in any way influenced by the 10 offences. He's a acharya, he's a namacharya. Take these on board. Huh? Anyone else got another wonderful hero? It's great to hear about this. Anyone else? Yes.
In the West, quite often there are rules of professionalism in the workplace where we cannot discuss subjects like religion or about your beliefs and things like that. How can one do this without being appropriate
How can you
way.
preach it to
Yeah,
those in your office or your workplace or in society in general without being offensive? Is that what you said?
Without it being inappropriate.
Inappropriate, yeah. Well, of course, it's a little bit more, you could say, maybe complex, maybe not, than the same thing with your own children in some ways. Of course, that's right on your doorstep. It's a daily affair. But when you're with people in general at work or whatever, you naturally, I mean, even when we're giving in general class, maybe not so easy, but a specific class, you will find out where the audience are, what their level is, where they're at, so to speak. So the same thing at work. You see when you were trying to distribute a book, for instance. Maybe Amiyatma Prabhu, who else is here experienced in book distribution? Masika. I mean, when you first approach a person on the street, you may just go straight in the deep end, but oftentimes you find out a little bit about them first, isn't it? Maybe they've already got a religious belief. Maybe they've got something or another you should be aware of. Maybe they're from France, they don't speak a word of English, and you just go straight in there without even asking where they're from, talking in English. You try to find out a little bit about them first, or in France, right? You're talking away in French, the person's from England, you don't understand a word. You find out a little bit about them first. So you have to see where they're at, and then see what's appropriate.
Well, in context to why I was asking the question, in context to why the question I'm asking, in my line of work, I see people that are cognitively impaired,
Yeah.
quite often at the last stages of life,
Okay.
but very, very in a lot of despair about the unknown, whether they're going to be placed into rest home without going home first from a hospital situation. And it's kind of, you can see the situation, but there's always like a barrier to let them know that, God is taking care of everything.
Yeah, there's always some challenges will be there in preaching. Preaching is not easy. Preaching doesn't just mean philosophy. Preaching means many things, even your behavior, even your state of consciousness, Even when you're with somebody, if you're in stress and you're with somebody who's very peaceful, and they mean it, they're not just trying to, compete with the person or something, they can feel that you care for them. That will also help them to become a little more peaceful, just by your peaceful presence, just by your loving presence. And if you're in Krishna consciousness, they don't know it, but that will also have some benefit from it, even if there's no verbal exchange, even if there's no seeming interaction in terms of their being able to understand or receive anything you say to them. There'll still be some benefit for them. Maybe you can give them prasadam, I don't know. But of course that's Prabhupada said our secret weapon is prasadam. And we pretty much, potentially speaking, that can be made available to everybody, even if we're not able to preach philosophy or anything of that sort. At least we can try to give them prasadam. Perhaps you can speak a few simple, I don't know, you're much more experienced in this regards, and you have your father you're looking after, so he's 93, so you see there also, he's in that state of life, and you're dealing with others who are also in a similar state of life. Somewhere or another, find a way of, you can't say everyone's going to be the same there, you just have to find what they can digest, what will make them feel a bit more relaxed and peaceful, Sometimes telling stories of your own life works. Sometimes other people's lives, sometimes something from, I don't know, something you can find Chanaka saying, something or another which they can relate to. Something they can relate to which will help them to, not be so negative or so scared or whatever it is. You have to see there's going to be a little different with each one. Pray to the Lord for guidance. He'll give you guidance. Find some way.
Once I befriended an elderly blind man here in Christchurch, and he was quite an environmentalist, and one of his great heroes was Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
So he was very happy for me to read him Mahatma Gandhi's biography, his life story.
Uh-huh.
And from that angle I could introduce some ideas about Krishna consciousness.
His indirect way of bridging gaps between,
So the cultural angle can be quite
It can be indeed. If you can bring, that's a good point, bringing in a little cultural aspect.
Or if
Yeah,
you find out what their beliefs already are, then work
that's
with that.
right. Finding out where they're at a little bit.
Sometimes it can be just the example. Just now when I was walking the program, one bus driver just stopped on the side and he asked me for chanting beads.
Somebody what?
He asked me for the chanting beads. He asked me what I
Who
was
did?
doing.
Who?
Just a bus driver.
Bus driver. He stopped
Yeah.
and asked you for
Indian
chanting
bus driver.
beads.
Yeah.
Make sure when you're giving the beads, tell him he shouldn't chant on the beads when he's driving the bus.
And he's asked for Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
He came.
Tell him that's the first thing you have to tell him. Don't chant on the beads while you're driving your bus. Okay.
Yes.
No, because there's different aspects of example. Just them. I mean, you may not be able to if you're in a workplace, but just the fact that they're seeing you dressed the way you are, people ask, "What are you? Who are you?" or whatever. That creates a little bit of a opening in their hearts sometimes. Different ways. Look at Mahavishnu Swami, with his hat, and how fearless he is, going into the Congo, going up the river Congo, going into all these dangerous places, chanting Hare Krishna. Just examples. People are impressed by the examples that you set, not only of the externals but internals, your behavior. You're very calm. You're very kind. You're not just callous to everybody and just pushing them out the way or blocking their, giving way to the people, offering them a seat. All these little things mean, to a materialist, they mean a lot. Helping people when they're in difficulty. Little things all add up to increasing the faith in the conditioned souls. They lack faith. Well, it's probably getting very late. And let's have a little kirtan and then we'll finish. Oh, look at this merciful garlands. My word, they're so kind. Distributing their mercy everywhere. Showers of mercy coming down. Huh? What's happened?
There's a bug.
Oh, there's a bug. No. Be careful, there's a bug. Oh, no. Oh. An earwig. Thank God it didn't go in my ear. My goodness me. That was a purposeful plan there. Planted a deadly earwig in the garland. The intention it would get in my ear. Yes. Saved by Prananath. Did you put him safely outside?
I did.
Oh, good.
He went for a short flight.
Oh, he flew. Funny kind of earwig. Oh. Hare Krishna. Where's Divya Leela's cartels? I promised them I would play them tonight. Give me those cartels. He was trying to push them on me. I say I'll play them tonight. Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti. Is there a harmonium here? There was a harmonium. I don't know where's the harmonium gone? Namaste Sarvate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastya Charisa Tarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Shiva Sade Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Jai Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Swami, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jagannath Swami, Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami, Bhava Tume. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Down under.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Woo! 1 hour, 4 to go. Come on, ladies, let's hear you.
Bolo, bolo.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Ram,
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 Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Oh, they've taken over now. Ram, Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
you okay?
Getting wobbly.
Getting wobbly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram.
Sing! Sing! Oh. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Chant!
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare.
Hey!
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare.
Oh, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare
Oh,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram
oh,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Oh, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jaya Jagannath. Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra. Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Tagore Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Tagore Hari Bol, Tagore Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Go Premanande, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gauritai ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, Shri Shri Radha Gandharvika Giridhari ki jai. Go Premanande, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami Abhibab Mahotsav ki, Shri Raghunath Das Thakur Abhibab Mahotsav ki, the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Tirobab Mahamahotsav ki, Shri Pundarik Vijanidhi Abhibab Mahamahotsav ki, Shri Vishnu Priya Devi Dasi Abhibab Mahamahotsav ki, Shri Vasant Panchami ki, Shri Saraswati Puja ki. Oh, glorious to the assembled devotees. Oh, glorious to Sri Guru Garanga, glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Woo, woo, woo. He likes the drum. You have to get him a drum. That will keep you busy. Keep you busy, I met him. Okay, who's going to sing Namaste? And on we go. The world goes on.